listeners, and welcome to High Tea Mystique with your hosts, Kat.
And I'm Tess. And Pam.
In a world changing faster than the time it takes to brew a cup of tea,
High Tea Mystique reminds you that no experience is too big or too small to teach us something about ourselves. So join us for a cup of tea as we steep into adulting, womanhood, independence, and more.
Here we go.
ready, Yeti.
Ready, Yeti.
I got my green on.
We're seeking abundance.
Oh, hell yeah.
And monetary
We're
means.
seeking the rewards of manifestations that have already been in the works. We're ready to receive.
Not gonna lie, that's like you just dropped a line right now. You just dropped a beat. I think that's the only thing you're missing.
Did it rhyme? Was there a scheme?
You know what? Not all rap has to have one. You know, it's just pure genius.
That's facts.
Not me thinking about mustard in the background.
Because
of Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, the new album?
Yes.
I've not heard it yet.
Damn.
His one
I've heard
lyric.
bits and pieces. I think it's shorter than I thought it was gonna be. I think it's less than an hour total, right?
Oh, really?
Oh, okay,
The album?
yeah.
Is it like 8 tracks or?
Let's find out.
Let's
One,
find out.
two,
I listened to it,
three.
and then I went on a shuffle of Kendrick, and I was like, I shuffled the album, so I
Kenny.
believe the album is shorter, but it's got some really
Uno,
good.
due,
It's
tre,
got some
quattro,
really good
cinco,
beats on it.
sei, siete, ocho, nove,
Is the very
10.
first track a diss track? It is. Right?
12. There's 12.
There's 12 songs,
Yeah.
It's 44 minutes, so yeah.
but it's still
under an
it's less
hour.
than an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
so
I
listened
counted
to
and
that.
it had the total underneath. Ooh, you know?
Spotify does do that. But yeah, shameless plug, Kendrick. We do enjoy the album. Tess, I think, might be the fan favorite of the day, but I like it too. I'm definitely going to listen to it again. I love the listening time. That's great. And I definitely think that there's a story there to uncover. And that's all that I can comment at this time.
Yeah, I've been going to church listening to Chapel Roan.
Oh, she's so
Like
good.
the other songs that are not
Is
the
it-
mainstream.
Does it have anything to do with your Spotify Wrapped, perhaps? Because
No.
my Spotify Wrapped did resurface Chappelle for me as well. Chapel.
No.
No.
I have not unsurfaced her ever. I feel like ever since I first listened to Hot to Go, like back when my friend Jenna showed me that song like on a way to trivia one night, I have not stopped listening to Chapel Roan.
She's so good.
For Christmas and my birthday, 2 separate friends got me tote bags with her song title themes on the tote bags.
Oh my god.
It's one of them Pink Pony Club.
One of them is Pink Pony Club.
Hell
and
yes!
It's a pink pony on the strip pole. It's fucking
Yes.
amazing.
Wow.
And the other one is Phenomenon. And
Yes.
it's like a cowgirl. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
That's really good. Those are
Love
really
it.
good gifts.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Man, not the femininomenon.
Phenomenon. Oh, what? Okay.
A feminine phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
Hit it like.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, no better way to kick off our season finale. So cool. Welcome, listeners, to High Tea Mystique. As you can see, if you are watching the name of this app, or even if you clicked on the new episode for the week on Spotify or Apple, happy to have you. The episode for today is called Goodbye, Hello 2025. And we have a couple of fun things up our sleeve for this episode. Because it's our season finale, of course, we're going to have a couple of things up our sleeve. This is a chance for us to kind of sum up all of our last little tidbits for the year, some lasting moments that we want to share with you, and kind of in the fashion of last year too, right? Like taking a moment back to also laugh and be a little silly and a little more playful today, as we like to go into the new year a little bit lighter. So thank you for being here. Thanks for being along for the ride. Ladies, if you want to say a quick hello.
Bonjour.
Hello.
Goodbye. Wait, not yet.
It's always funny for me whenever I host because I also talk about the tea. So
Oh yeah.
today is fun because when we're virtual, we all have our own teas and we each get to talk about them and why we've chosen them and the not only the benefits but a reminder that when we pick our teas, they can also cater to the topic or the vibe of the topic as well. I think that uh in this journey of learning about tea, you recognize that a lot of things can be identified as medicine. And so things can affect us internally, not just like in our organs and what's happening like through our blood, but also in our mind. And sometimes just matching a tea with how you're feeling, and your mood is exactly what you need in that moment too. And for me today, that is exactly what I've chosen because I have a tea that I've hinted at for a couple of episodes this past season, and I'm so excited to be having it today. And it's the white chocolate peppermint rooibos. So this is my favorite holiday tea, and it is a tea that I loved and had many years ago, and then kind of just always thought about and never, well, like I couldn't find it for a while because it was a Tivana tea. And so Tivana, went out of business and their teas, they only like continue to sell a very limited amount of all of the teas that they had. And then I found another company that started making a very similar version of the blend. And I like it more because it has no added sugar. And Tivana says that they have no added sugar, but they have like pieces of things that have sugar. So like there is added sugar. And yeah, so I'm having that today. It's a really nice spin, especially if you're somebody who can't have coffee, and so like a white chocolate peppermint mocha is just not an option for you. Or uh you just want something that has no caffeine to like wind down at the end of the day. This is such a good option. It's so festive and spiced and full of flavor because it is still a rooibos tea, which is a full-bodied flavor. And hey, there is peppermint in it, so you're gonna get some great benefits on the tummy, and if you have any irritation or a stomach ache, I'm sure this is something that can help you. I drink it because it's delicious, but I would be even more so inclined to do it if I needed it to. So let's go on over to
Before
Pam.
we do, can we give
Oh,
a moment for Kat's mug? Just give a
Yes.
moment for the mug.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to say that. Motherfucking tea time.
I've never
Hell
featured it,
yes.
huh? I guess because we haven't done too many virtual episodes. Oh, this is an iconic one. This has been in my collection for years. I think since 2014. It's 10 years old.
Wow.
Oh,
Happy
Wow.
birthday.
maybe 2015. Maybe 2015.
It's about to
But
be
it was
10
a
years
Christmas
old.
present. So yes, it is its birthday. Yeah, I love
Love
this
it.
thing.
So I picked up I'm currently in Canada and it's very, very cold. And so when I was looking at the limited tea options that I had, I saw there was a lemon ginger, and what better way to kind of combat any potential illnesses because I don't want to get sick coming into the new year. I've been sick 3 times back to back within the last month or so. So I do not want any viruses. So I saw lemon ginger and I was like, how perfect. Ginger, lemon, give myself the little brightness, that combativeness of the ginger. And it feels so nice and warm, especially since it's so cold over here in the great north.
Yes.
Jon
Yes.
Snowland.
Pam is out of the country. We are
Woo.
here multinational today.
Oh
Very
yes.
cool. And that's for the first time,
That is for
Yeah.
the first
right?
time.
On our pod. That's the first time. That's super cool. Look at us leveling up.
Mm-hmm.
And Teresa, would you mind
You.
telling? I don't think
A
I've ever said
government
that before.
name.
I feel like that's one of those things that happen when you're like, my brain is catching up to my thought, but I know logically what your first name is, so I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say that first.
Maybe it's because I'm channeling my inner game show host for what we're gonna
Yeah.
do next.
Yeah, sprinkle in the government name here and there,
It's
you
one of
Where
know.
those things too where it's like if I was to ever want to go and do something publicly, I would have to be very conscientious of what name I put down because if I don't want to be addressed as Caitlin, then I probably just shouldn't write it on the application. You
true.
know?
Um, well, anyway, the tea that I chose today is actually it's from a brand called Triple Leaf Tea. And I picked it up at oh man, it's like iMart, something in North Miami. And it's a brand or a chain of Asian market, kind of like that Pan-Asian type of like store to pick up all of these different things. And this is actually a Chinese herb medicine tea that is supposed to help with blood pressure. It has a herb called I hope I'm gonna butcher this, but I'm gonna try my best. Eukomia leaf, and it says to support healthy natural balance of blood pressure. So it is an herbal tea. It does not have caffeine. It was a very specific brew instruction. I have never seen a tea say brew for 10 minutes. I may be ignorant and maybe there was already out there, but I was like, damn, this is a long brew time. And I was a little bit afraid that it'd be bitter. It is not. It's very, very nice. Um, but honestly, its taste profile is very earthy. So I was
Mm.
very glad for it not to be bitter because
Can you repeat the name again?
of
The tea
the
or the
tea,
herb?
the herb. It's is called Eukomia, Eucommia leaf.
Okay,
Yeah,
good to know.
10 minutes. That is not normal. I think that most herbal teas recommend like 5 to 7 or 8
that's
at
what
the
I was
most.
thinking. Yeah,
I would say any herbal tea you can brew for as long as you want. So, like a lot of people would, or if you wanted to do it cold brew style, you could do it overnight, and without heating it. And that's especially if something is normally bitter, and you don't want it to taste bitter. Um, but it's all optional, never like the recipe. So that's
right.
super
Mm.
interesting. There's probably something that releases after time.
Maybe that's what I was.
Chinese herbs.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
just try to follow directions because I'm interested in the benefit, but we'll see.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So, without further ado, if you're wondering why we decided to name this episode Goodbye, Hello 2025, we're not saying goodbye to 2025 just yet, considering she hasn't even started, but we did want to say goodbye before we say hello. So, because this is our season finale, we'll be taking a small hiatus after this episode, but we don't want to be we couldn't end the season without also offering our good wishes and uh, a little bit of what we'll be pursuing, right? Uh, to everybody in the new year because the episode comes out on New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's Eve. So you could be listening to this on New Year's Eve. You could be listening to this on New Year's Day or any other day of the year in 2025. So whenever you're listening to it, it's exactly what you need to find closure with 2024 and what it did for you and begin this new chapter that we all get to experience today together from January 1st to December 31st. So we wanted to say goodbye in a fun way. And thanks to the recommendation of Tess, we're going to be doing it kind of like a little bit of a game style. This is like a test to see how well we know each other. And I guess what we would say as our standout moment from the year. So we're going to go around, and the question that we're all going to be answering on behalf of the other person is what we think is the biggest moment or happening that they would like to say goodbye to in 2024. Right. So typically, this is something that you feel like you want to leave behind, right? Or a door that's closing or a chapter that's ending. And so I would say let's take it that way, you know, and it could still be something that brought us a lot of growth, but maybe we're growing out of. And I think it would be fun to start with Pam. So that means that Tess and I are each going to guess what we think is Pam's uh biggest moment of her life that she wants to say goodbye to in 2024. Moment happening. I think let's go broad with it, Tess, as we answer and see how close we get to what Pam's actual answer is, because maybe we're like in the realm, you know, and
And
I'd
I
be
hope
proud of
Pam
myself
knows
for
too.
hitting that. I'm sure our answers will help shape it. So, Tess, I know you have your own prep, so I guess I can start. And if I was to think of what a defining moment for Pam is to say goodbye to, I would say it would be goodbye to the timeline. I feel like this was a big year of really trying to plan things out as much as possible and constantly being reminded that life just happens, whether or not you're ready for it, and that opportunities present themselves, whether or not you are expecting it then and there. And I feel like you had so many moments where you were up against a wall that you weren't expecting yet, and it seemed like you were choosing the right path every time, you know, because I just see you in such a good place now. um but I feel like if there's anything you're letting go of, it seems like you've evolved to being so much more of like go with the flow and satisfy what you need right there and then, right, trusting that because you do, it's because you're wise enough to know that those impulses now are much more informed, you know, than like that younger Pam that once was. I think that you don't make impulsive decisions really. You know, you make decisions from the gut that are really
We
what you
gotta
want.
poker face it. So I cannot confirm nor deny yet.
Right. That's my guess, right? I think Pam is saying goodbye to the timeline, right? The timeline in its construct, that it is rigid and fixed.
This
And
so-
Tess.
this sounds like an episode of How I Met Your Mother. The
Oh my gosh,
timeline.
really? Wait, like an intervention
The
episode?
timeline.
No, just the way you said that. The timeline.
I'm gonna reveal my answer. Hopefully
Yes.
it's legible. Maybe not.
Oh, green
Oh
screen.
Oh
no.
no.
Well, let me
Oh
see.
no.
Goodbye. Oh no.
Isn't that crazy? That's also this year.
Oh no.
H2O out of water.
And now
Well,
Tess
I
disappeared.
wrote goodbye. Oh yeah, it does kind of serve as a green screen. That's interesting. Oh, you can kind of read it here. I wrote goodbye to stuckness. I think it kind of echoes kind of this idea of being on a timeline. I think I've watched and seen so many of people's plans, come to fruition, crumble at their feet, completely change and reroute, that including people that, I see today as, happy or unhappy because they stuck to a very rigid timeline, you know? So I don't feel like there's a need to ever say, you're not doing something correctly or you're not doing the right thing because you're not on par with other people's paths. Or you're feeling like you're not at the speed of which you should be, right? I feel like that's such an illusion as to, what suits your needs and what suits someone else's needs. At the end of the day, that's just what it comes down to. What are your needs in a moment? What are someone else's needs in a moment? And that's the bare minimum, because sometimes stuckness is not about your need. Stuckness is an illusion, right? Stuckness is something tricking you into feeling like you need something when you actually really don't, right? You you probably know best and really maybe forget sometimes just because again you're caught up in illusion of what someone else has. And this is not you, Pam, but like big you, like everybody, right? Um, I think it's good to not be on the same path as people around you because you all need to teach each other about your own paths, right? I'm very blessed to also like see the stuckness kind of dissipate already, specifically to Pam now, right? I feel that even when she thought there was stuckness, I feel like there's still been a lot of things that have proved she's not. Um, so there's definitely a goodbye to stuckness in 2024. Yeah.
Drum
So
roll.
now, yes, we get to hear how close or how far away we were, how well we really know Pam.
So, when we started, I genuinely had no idea what my answer was gonna be. And when I saw that I was picked first, I was like, "Oh, we gotta pick." But I will say, if anything, this show kind of really highlights how well we've gotten to know each other, you know? In terms of accuracy, Tess got it. Like the word that was in my head was that stuckness, but the reasons are a little blended and I feel lean closer to what Kat was saying, you know? So I feel like you both deserve a point and you both get it right on technicalities. Um, but I see it more as finally being in a place where I'm not where I don't feel stuck, where I know that the mental hurdle of feeling like I'm in a place where I can, I don't know, feel just so energetically free, like I don't have any mental obstacles. Before I was living with my parents, and it's never the best situation. And when you have your freedom and then move back in with parents, you kind of miss, the independence of doing whatever it is that you wanted, not having to report to people, even though it comes from good intentions. And so just that release, I think, of definitely pressures that I put upon myself is gonna help a lot with me feeling unstuck. And there's already like I already feel more creatively inclined, to do things. And I think that's a huge indication I've noticed of how I'm doing mentally. That if I'm not really engaging in creative projects, then that's probably that I'm not in my best mental state. So now that I feel, wanting to do more creative things and, try all these different art things and all of that, I can tell that already just putting myself in a space where I'm no longer feeling stuck and like what Kat said, you know, kicking that timeline to the curb and just saying, no, we're doing it now, has helped a lot. So yeah, good job, ladies. I hope I, I do well for you guys.
No, that really validated me. Um, thank you for saying that I won,
Of course.
even though I really didn't. I know
I
it's hard to
mean,
judge. I know it's hard to judge.
Your
Congratulations,
dreams
Tess.
let us win.
1 point for Tess. Two more
Gryffindor
points to
and
receive, and she
uh
can't receive one of them. So we'll see.
Kat,
Maybe it's
what
a
house
three-way
are
tie.
you? What? I'm gonna be a millennial right now, and I'm gonna ask Kat what your Hogwarts house is.
It was because I said 1 point.
100%.
I am. Well, the last time I did it, I was Slytherin, but the first time I did it, I was Ravenclaw.
oh,
How people
Both
change.
both very good houses. Both very good. I mean, they're all great, so whatever. Which one
Yeah.
do you want to be? Because I'm Gryffindor, so I have 1 point.
Oh, nice.
1 point to Gryffindor.
What house are you, Pam?
Is this going to influence your decision?
Yeah, because if you're Ravenclaw or Slytherin, I'll just be the other one.
I'm Ravenclaw.
All right, Slytherin it is. Oh,
One
you're
point.
Ravenclaw, huh?
We
One
could have
point to
been joining
Slytherin.
points, but I guess I see how it is.
Oh, that's funny. Well, that's so Ravenclaw of you. We are comrades. Um. All right. Well, let's head on over to Tess. Tess,
Teresa.
So, oof,
Gross.
it's like one of the only people who can say that. So I'm in trouble, guys. I'm in trouble after this episode, just so you know. So I'm sweating. So we're going to now answer what we think Tess would like to say goodbye to in 2024. And I answered first for Tess, so I'm gonna actually ask Pam to start off and guess first because I want to make these games fair. So that would mean that everybody has to answer first and second.
And for the record, I wrote it down already. And there's about
your answer?
I did. I wrote it down and I wrote 4 things. So you have 4 chances.
Oh man.
That sounds like a cheat, miss, but all right.
Does that mean we need to guess all 4 to be right?
Goddamn.
I think no.
All right, ready? Here I go.
I think that's just more opportunity for you to get it right? Like
Pam's ready.
Yeah. I think we're still sticking to Kat's rules about being in the realm. So yeah.
Tess
has a very large realm.
She's like, this was written down before, so
it
does count officially.
Exactly. I am nothing if not a game show host, dude.
All right, Steve Harvey. So I don't know if this is what she wants to say goodbye to, but I hope this is one of the 4 things, is saying goodbye to the self. I'm trying to think of how I want to phrase this, but I guess the self-attacks, which I feel like she's been doing a very good job of, but I would officially like to see it say goodbye, sayonara, forever and forever, to the self talking down, the self inflicting verbally, like doubting, like just putting herself down and thinking that putting herself in a place where she believes she's the root of a problem when that's not the reality, saying goodbye to that depressy Tess, saying hello to bitch, it ain't your fault, it's their problem, they're the problem, not you. That's my answer. Final answer, Steve Harvey. Final answer.
I love it.
It better be up there.
That's similar to what I was going to say, I think, in a way. The phrase that came to my mind was apologetic. So I was thinking of saying goodbye to the apologies, right? So, like, to the ways that you, Tess, have had situations this year where you felt like you have come so far and then would arrive at one situation where you felt like you had to compromise some of your growth, right? In that situation. And so I feel like if you were to say goodbye to something, that's probably what you would want to say goodbye to, is like recognizing your growth in all situations, not just the ones that maybe feel like more familiarized, and like allowing yourself to be able to be your advocate, in the room when it seems like for some reason the other person isn't. And to ultimately live more unapologetically, because you're saying goodbye to saying sorry, like in just the way that you might be, right? And I say all of these things as like because it's not who you are and it's not how you practice. So it's like those, I'm sure, are the scenarios that like would stand out more in the year, and like the goal is for 2025 to have less, if not any, of that, because you're strong enough and you've already outgrown it.
So I think you both got the first thing right, which was goodbye to trust issues, right? Trust issues, because it pretty much is the epitome of when I doubt myself, right? And it's also the kind of extension of how trust issues are, really a root of oneself, I have really come to find that where every time I'm in a situation and I think, oh no, like, it's my fault, or I'm just going to like take the blame, or I'm going to compromise, right? It's really me trying to like take control of something I feel very unsure in, when really you just have to trust yourself and you have to trust other people more in the environments you're in, you know? And that's one thing that I feel like was the first thing down because it has been such a reoccurring theme and a reoccurring practice where I have learned to step away and talk to myself and say, okay, it's not you. So let the other person reveal what it truly is to you, right? Like trust in conversation, trust in asking the question yourself, right? Trust that they'll answer you, and trust that if they don't, they're not ready to. And it doesn't mean anything about you, right? It just means there's something else to be figured out or something else that they need before, you know, that component comes up. Yeah, I feel like I'm such a person that, or I was such a person that wanted to take control of things, and the way of taking control of things was kind of putting them and pinning them all on me so that it made sense to me. But that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't help anybody. And it doesn't really grow important things. So one of them being just good foundational trusting, loving relationships, right? So, yeah. My other three things were pharma, because as much as I have loved my health journey, I want to be off of medication. My other thing was actually my second other thing was debt, because who doesn't want to get rid of debt, honestly? Especially being one on student debt. And which was a funny one, but I threw it in there because why not? It's also a manifestation, right? Which was the next part of our episode. Not being in Japan. So those are my things to say goodbye to in 2024. So good job. Good job, Ravenclaw and Slytherin. That's one more tally.
Nice. A win is a win. So that means we have a half or one one.
I'll give you a half. Yes.
So okay. Well, either way, this is a tiebreaker
Yeah.
because that means that if Pam wins, she would have 1.5, which is still more than one. And if you win, well, you wow, stole the show. So let's see.
If
It
Tess wins,
is
this game is rigged towards the Libras.
I do love that we're doing this game style. It raises the stakes.
Our stakes the
Um,
price.
all right, y'all. I'll let you take it away. I'm gonna put. I'm gonna have Tess answer. No, wait. Yeah, no. Tess has to answer first.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. That is the way it must go.
I think write your name down on the paper to help me think. I think Kat is saying goodbye to imbalance. That's the one word that comes to mind of all the topics we have kind of brought together and we have explored. I feel that there is a strong theme in 2024 of finding the right place, finding the right time, or not giving enough time, or not having, enough energy, or not feeling, without effort, or feeling without the right leadership, right? Where you have so many roles to kind of come into, right? Where it can be easy to feel off kilter, right? But I think ultimately imbalance can happen for the right reasons, but which you have also kind of explored with us. Like, that it's kind of a sign, right? It's like an alarm to us. But I think it's also in ways that you've experienced it, maybe a feeling of wanting to be everything all at once, where I just feel like your balance is exactly serving your heart and your mind and your wellness in the exact role you need for that moment, you know? So sure, being the captain of a run team may have more effort this week because that's what you need. And maybe being a team member on your 9 to 5 has more energy for the next week because that's what your soul and your mind needs. And I don't feel like having those things go full kilter all at once means you need to be full kilter for both of those things at once. Because I feel like when that happens, you feel like, okay, the imbalance, right? Um, but I don't feel like you're imbalanced. I feel like that idea should be left behind in 2024. You know, I feel like you're definitely stepping into a new idea of balance and a new idea, right, of feeding wellness and feeding your spirit. Yeah.
So,
Very interesting. Food for thought.
so,
No final comments at this time.
so my answer, the reasonings are pretty much what Tess said, but it's a different word that I decided to go with, which is saying goodbye to people pleasing. And I feel like for everything that Tess just explained, just more so focused on the idea that I feel like you've mentioned a lot, right? In a lot of your reflections throughout the year, that you have felt the need in the past to have people see you in a certain way, right? Or have acceptance of people because especially because of the career that you're in, right? Like acting is not an easy one, and the whole basis of it really is to please the people who you're auditioning for and things like that. But with the same mindset of, really fine tuning that alignment and discerning what is something that you do want to say yes to, right? I think people pleasing is something that comes out to be a little bit more, especially because when we've talked about energy in the past and like your timing and the efforts and all of that, you focus it a lot on people, right? Like people who don't really, you're realizing either you don't need anymore or you're realizing they're not the people for you, or they may not have your best interests, or they might just be wanting to be with you because they want to take advantage of your energy, like really, I feel like even this year with some of the gatherings you've had, like you've been very clear about wanting to make sure that you surround yourself with good people and not just everyone and saying yes to everybody. And that way you keep your energy clear, you keep your uh, squad with good people, good foundational people who you'll surround yourself with that will, give you the energy to feel good and pursue all of your passions, like everything that Tess said, but just focus on people.
All right. So we have imbalance and people pleasing. So I would, like you both have said for yourselves, you are both so right. I I definitely think that my answer is an encapsulation of both. So if I were to say one more than the other, I hate this. I just realized I'm the tiebreaker. Oh no. Okay.
Ain't
Well, if
gotta
I
please
were to just
nobody.
take it, I know. This is the worst. This is literally the worst situation to be in. So, if I were to choose between imbalance and people pleasing with my answer in mind, I think that the person who is closer to it is Pam, because my answer is no handouts. I want to say goodbye to handouts. And I feel like both are right because the actions that come from it are essentially what both of you said. But I suppose that because the term handouts is in reference to people, it definitely ties in with people pleasing. Because yeah, I feel like um it's something that I've been working on for so long. It's such a crucial it was such a crucial part of my I guess like trauma, and because it was a part of my development, right? Like developing like this habit of people pleasing was something that I've been doing since I was a kid, so it's really hard to shake. So even though it's been a priority for years, like I still keep running into scenarios, and like they're becoming less and less, but I think I still have that attachment issue where when it happens, it always feels like the end of the world, and I don't want it to feel like that. I don't want my lows to be so low when I'm struggling with something. I want it to be more like on the back burner and something that I just experience and not something that has to consume me in those moments. And while I think that I've gotten a lot better and there weren't really many moments this year, uh it was still present. And ultimately I'm learning that I control a lot of that, that we have the power to manifest really beautiful and powerful things in our lives. And most of the time we recognize when it's a positive thing coming in, and we forget to look at ourselves as well and ask why uh things that aren't so good are happening to us too, and our own energy might be attracting situations like that too. And it's shouldn't be afraid, to go that deep into your self analysis. And so when I think about that, I think about the energy that I put out into the world. And while I think I am generally an amazing person, I have areas to improve always, and I like to connect them to things that go wrong in life because it's just my own way of teaching myself to be a better person. And so I think one of those ways is just going to have to be in like conserving my energy and making sure that uh no one sees a side of myself that I don't want to share, because that side of myself doesn't exist, because I don't give my time to people to experience those emotions. Like that's the goal. That is the goal. Um and the hope is that like it no longer even has to be a thought, about giving energy to certain people, that it just becomes who I am, the way that I admire so many other people, who just don't struggle in that way. And uh pardon my runny nose, but um yeah, I definitely still agree with Tess, though, on the sense of that imbalance and seeing that in my life. Absolutely. And even the way that you shared it, Tess, is something that I'm going to take with me as an idea to implement, like prioritizing my time very specifically, and recognizing that an idea that you sparked is like sometimes it's just as simple as like my priority for today is going to be in this area, and that I can switch daily if I need to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if it also needs to be weekly, or monthly, or like on the weekends, like needing to switch over to one area over the other, that's okay. And it doesn't mean that one area means less, or that one area, the people, right, who I'm surrounded by in that area would think of me less, like that nothing really matters that much. And I say that, but I don't know if I fully believe that all the time. So to like really embrace that understanding, and really step into it is well, I guess the opposite, right? That's what I want to say goodbye to,
Yeah.
is the person who doesn't do that.
Au revoir. So long.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Our House Cup winner is Ravenclaw.
Yes. Congratulations, Pam. What a game.
What a game. What a
Wasn't even
year.
close.
Super close. Half a point.
Half a point.
That is some Harry Potter shit.
That
They would do
is.
points like that.
Yeah. That's Neville Longbottom right there.
Half a point.
Half a point.
Hufflepuff. So now we're going to move on to, well, now that we've said goodbye to 2024 and what we'd like to leave behind, right, and not take with us, now it's time to say hello. But here's the thing, none of us are psychics, right? We can't tell each other's futures. So we're going to leave it up to the professionals to handle this one. And we're each going to say uh, something that we would like to see transform in ourselves in 2025. So something, an area, right? A trait something that we would like to add to our 2025 toolkit for ourselves of who we want to be as we get closer towards that dream and realizing that we are already it. I think this is a great opportunity, and of course, a reminder that as we answer these questions and as we've said goodbye to these things this past year, we hope you're taking moments to self reflect on your own year and what you have gone through. It's hard to see in the moment, right? The growth. It's hard to see in the moment all the good. It's hard to see in the moment all that you have to be thankful for and all that you have been blessed with in this world and in the last year of your life, all of the things that have come your way because you put out that energy and that work to give yourself those things. So I hope you're taking this chance to do that. And we invite you to, at any time, a reminder, you can always pause this episode and like take a moment to think for yourself, maybe play some like lo-fi in the background for a moment before you come back and like tune back in with us because we want you to have your time too. And I'm excited for today's tarot at the end. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. We're about halfway through. But I'm excited for today's tarot because I think it'll be really nice and informative for you all, in uh what you might be saying goodbye to, right? Like us as a collective, all of this energy and all of these things that we've grown and learned together this year. What will be that collective lesson for us? Like what will we be releasing and what will we be collectively bringing in next year? But yeah, so we'll be transitioning now. And I think I'd like to start with uh Tess for this one and ask you to share with us a little bit about the transformation that you envision for yourself in the new year. And in just one area, I think that, again, we've already shared our traditions around the new year if we have them. So we don't need to talk about that list of goals that we have or specifically don't choose to have. And uh we don't need to dissect that. Honestly, if people are interested in that, I would rather plug them into our season closer for season 1, and allow them to kind of like sit in, it wasn't the season closer. It was the episode before, I believe. But yeah, to sit in that and like learn that lesson from us there. But in the present moment, I think it's we're in this season of just jumping in, and so I'd just like to know what you see for yourself. Share that vision with us a little bit.
I would love to see more travel. I would love to see more travel. I would love to see more of Tess in enjoyment of, what else there is to offer, right? I feel that I have done a lot of thought into, where I am at my home base in here. And it'd just be good to see her into these, places that, are just, I guess, outside of herself and really immersed, right? Because I think one of the things that you forget is what else the world has to offer if you're so busy kind of making sure that what you have at home and when you're in your own skin is healthy. um I want to see Tess, you know not feeling like there's something that she's missing out on, right? Because the test now definitely feels like, there are things that she could be giving herself that maybe we're not ready, and like the illusions of not being ready and whatever that means, right? So silly, right? But I would love to see Tess, out there and really enjoying those trips and those weekend warrior moments and, not worried about the kind of very like um I'm losing the word, but essentially, money. Tess is so worried about money, and I think that has definitely held her back in just enjoying, right? And on a day to day, right? Like the moments that you have to really explore and enjoy life, you don't get back. Whereas there's a paycheck every 2 weeks, right? So that's the type of scale that I'm kind of thinking of, where 2024 was all about investing and, in myself, which I do not regret at all. And I think 2025, I see Tess investing in everything else that's out there. Yeah.
I love these types of episodes. It's so exciting because I think that we really remember. I think that's, we know I love New Year's resolutions. And I think that's why I like these times of years, because I just remember these moments so finitely, because you just connect it, like because it's related to a holiday. Like I can close my eyes and remind myself and remember very easily where I was this time last year. I can remember what I did on the day, how it started, how it ended, how I felt, what I did the next day. And so it's easy to connect that to the goals and the intentions that you set, because you remind yourself where you were a year ago. So I'm just already thinking about coming back to this next year, and like hearing the many, many success stories of you uh embracing this, and this goal for yourself. Like I can already see it. It's like it's so interesting as friends, like you can see the person already there as they're speaking it, because that's how we create it. And I don't know if this is the first time that you share that idea, or if you've already shared it with a couple of people, and this is the first time you're sharing it to the wider public, but it feels like it's already in you, you know. So I just can't wait to see it happen.
Yeah. Explora. Explora Tessora.
Yes. A new era, new chapter.
Can't wait.
Well, I'll share my uh what I'd like to transform in my life. I think of, well, I don't know. I was just thinking of a word. So that's what I'm going to share, and I guess what it stems into maybe. So the word was power. I feel like I really want to harness a lot more of my power in the new year. I think I have self uh I think I have some self deprecating tendencies in areas where I care a lot. Um, and I don't know what it's rooted in. I don't know why I feel sometimes fearful that I could lose something that I really care about if I show how much I care, or show what I know. But for some reason, I have that. And I definitely want to transform into somebody who stands in their power. And like, if I have a feeling about something, or if I just know something, like to embrace that I know that for a reason, and believe in my worth and my experiences, and that I have something to bring to the table. And not just that I have something to bring to the table, but that I have something that people can really learn and grow from and with. I think that I I think that this is something that I already do to a point and to a degree. And certain situations make me more comfortable in that. And certain situations are just fresher and newer to me right now. And so I'm like back to that feeling of being a child in it, where I have to like still take those baby steps, because when you're in something completely new, you have to be honest with yourself and uh express humility and say I'm new at this, and now I have everything rushing back to me, because I'm still the same person, and even though I've overcome certain things, it's just that I'm not going to be talking crap to myself while I go through it, but I'm still going to have to go through it in the same way, you know. um so yeah, so I think like as I do that, to remind myself like I can be a beginner at something and still be very wise in it, because I've been a beginner before, so there's going to be a different level of questions that you have
Hmm.
now, when you go into things. And also the choice to go into things is different, right? Like it took me more of a process to decide to pursue something new on the side, right? And also talk about time. I know, I think it was Tess who was talking about time earlier. Um, when you understand how precious your time is, it changes a lot of your perspective. I think it's why a lot of parents, just completely shift overnight with their lives because they are confronted with their time, in a very, very different and radical and very quick way that forces them to change. And it's a little bit harder when you're doing it for yourself, and like creating a goal for yourself that you want to achieve. And so as I do that, to not diminish myself in the process, and like that I can be just as strong in something, just as strong as in myself with something, uh, from being an expert to being a novice, because I think it's just about visualizing, like visualizing myself already having gotten to that point and enjoying the process of being a beginner, as opposed to let it bring me anxiety. So yeah, it's exciting too because there's a lot of reasons to do it in 2025, where we've cleared the schedule of certain things that I felt like were a bit of a handout, right? What I'm trying to say goodbye to. And we're saying hello to new opportunities, that have me written all over them, that are my choice, my feelings, my soul expressed through something that I love. And I aim to have a life that is filled with that and only that, that's still collaborative and working with people that I genuinely love and care about, and still meeting new people, who I just am attracting with that successful energy that I have. Uh, but yeah, no buts. All good. All good, all good, all good.
No
So
buts.
I'm gonna pass it on over. Well, I mean, unless anyone has anything to say, I'm gonna have Pam close us out.
I just wanted to say I love it. I love all of these. I'm excited to see how 2025 shapes for all of us. So my word for 2024 was dream. And I think for 2025, what I want to say hello to is creation and also failure. Very similar to kind of what Kat was saying. Um, and what I was mentioning earlier, that I feel like now that I'm in this new space and I don't have these mental blocks in my way, I kind of want to go back to how I felt in Japan, right? Where I was doing a lot of things, doing a lot of bullet journaling and just like creating, cooking, trying new recipes. But now it's creation in more in the terms of like, how else can we get High Tea Mystique, right? Like, what are other ways that we can grow this platform, potentially looking at a different platform where I can express myself, specifically culinarily. um, and saying hello to also failure, because I feel like a lot of what holds me back and a lot of that stuckness is a fear of failing in terms of disappointing the people that I love, right? Myself included. And so I feel like a lot of what I have been experienced in 2024 has kind of made me feel more comfortable in failure, right? And understanding that no matter how professional or how finite or how experienced a certain person, product, company, whatever may be, there's always some sort of failure that they're going to experience, no matter how well established. And there's always going to be people that push back. And so this year, I feel like saying hello to that failure and not letting that hold me back, and trying out all of these different things that I've been interested in wanting to do for a while. Um, you know, not letting the fear of, I don't know, I guess formality hold me back, especially when it comes to creating content and specifically monetizing off of it. So yeah, I'm hoping that 2025 will bring in a Pam that feels comfortable, um, being her own person and almost in a way finding fulfillment in the arts, right? But in, I don't know how to explain this. I feel like we're so accustomed and all we hear is quick ways to make money, or what are the things you have to learn to stay relevant, or it's so focused on the material things, right? And I want to be able to explore and go back to, because I kind of did it a little bit in Japan, this other way of viewing success in life, right? And like truly living life to the fullest and doing all of those things that we've talked about in different podcast episodes, like pottery, like I want to go back to painting, and even though they're hobbies, um, they're still very enriching, and make me feel incredibly good. And so I want to go back to all of that while still saying hello to seeing what potential just dabbling in those hobbies and seeing, maybe I can make one of those hobbies a main focus, right? Or a different income stream. So that's what I want to say hello to. And I feel like 2025, I have good feelings about it. I feel like 2024 has been really hectic for a lot of people. Um, and a huge part of me saying hello to failure too is to start opening that door to my health journey as well. So I'm praying 2025 has a lot more uh places to breathe and meditate, because 2024 was crazy, and I'm grateful for it, but I'm so ready to say goodbye.
Yeah. I also feel like 2024 was like kind of quick. Like, I think you said it well when you're like, it was a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was a lot because it kind of flew by, even though I think for a lot of people, there was a lot of turmoil and anguish and a lot of the unknown. At the same time, it's like, I can't believe that an entire year has passed.
2024 felt like the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once,
Mm, hmm.
at least for me, and I feel like for a lot
Yeah.
of people that I've noticed in my personal lives, in social media, with what people are saying. It's just been a lot.
Yeah. I also think that for us and any listeners who are in our age range too, some of us are in like the precipice of our Saturn returns, which just naturally is a season of change and it lasts
Mm,
for about a year to a year and a half. And so I think that when you're surrounded by people, right? Who knows what percentage of the people in your life are going through that? And we are a product of our surroundings and our community. Like we're just naturally either going to be going through it ourselves or supporting our community as they go through it, right? In preparation for when it's our turn, because we're probably up next on the
mm,
calendar. And so it has been a crazy year, like the things I've witnessed and the things that I've had as well. It's been very draining, very, very draining. And the word tired came up so many times this year. Um, but also a lot of growth, and forced growth, just being thrust into situations and being forced to overcome them in whatever way was right and felt right at the time. And I also wanted to take a moment to reflect on the podcast, as Pam has already taken a little bit of reflection of her own on, and to kind of say like what we'd like to say hello to in 2025 with regards to our show. And I mean, I can kind of give, I guess, a little bit of a preface. One thing that we want to do is really take a seat. We're finishing up on 2 seasons of the show. It's just so cool to think about how like for two seasons, we have gotten together for the better half of a year to gather and discuss and have and think in deep thought about life and its many magical mysteries, and kind of just tap into that part of ourselves and that part of human connection that we felt was a little bit lost, right? Which was the reason why we wanted to start the podcast. We wanted to connect more with more people. And I think that that is always going to remain the goal for us as a podcast. And so I think the break between season 2 and season 3 is just going to be going back to our taking a moment to reflect on everything that we've done so far, go back to our roots, to our why, to who we are, to our mission. And I think kind of bringing that into the now, right? Like bringing it into 2025 and how can we really make an impact today, and just like going back to our mission and saying like, are we making the difference that we wanted to make when we first started this show, you know? And um, we just always want to provide an experience for you as our listeners. And we want to make you feel welcomed and at home. And we want to bring conversations to the table that we think are going to be good food for thought for you as you go about your daily life, and for ourselves too. Because as you know, we feed and are fed from this show for us. Um, but yeah, I definitely think that that's a goal for all of us moving forward. I don't know if anyone else wants to kind of give a little teaser of what they expect to happen in season 3.
Planning, lots of planning. Planning and fun with our listeners too, where I feel like, we definitely would love to bring you all into the conversation much more. And maybe have some more opportunities for some live stuff. Oh no, I dropped it. But definitely things to incorporate you all, which would be fun because of course, um, things are there's never enough room for fun.
I will just leave it to the universe to see what happens.
A perfect way, kind of how we started too. So I think that is a good way to close out the last portion. Not the last portion, but like the last discussion. The last discussion of the year and the last discussion of season 2. So thank you so much for tuning in with us this episode. We're going to transition now into our tarot read for the year, your last read of the year. I'll pass it over to Pam and let's see what the cards have in store.
Such a cosmic shuffle.
I know.
Hand it over to Pam and the cosmic shuffle.
Shuffle.
The
It's the
cosmos are
cosmic
here.
shuffle.
So I decided, where is it? To do seed, sprout, and harvest. I feel like that felt very appropriate to some of the things that we've been talking about, and kind of what we're leaning towards when we're going to sit together to talk about how we want to move this show forward. So I'm excited to see what kinds of things will pop up for us in 2025. So let's go ahead and press done shuffling. So for seed, let's grab this one. Sprout. This one. Harvest. I feel like the left side is really calling today. Okay. Wow. So for seed, we have the Ace of Pentacles. It says an unexpected opportunity, a great reward, fresh project. So when I was thinking about this spread, I really was envisioning, right, the kind of storyline that happens in the Pentacles from the Ace to the 10, where there's a lot of hard work and there's a lot of sowing of seeds, growing of the seeds, tending to the seeds, while this person waits for their harvest to bloom. So I feel that it's very appropriate that we have the Ace of Pentacles here in the seed part. And I also think it's very in alignment to what we've all kind of been saying, right? The kinds of things that we're wanting to say hello to. I feel like between the answers, what I gave and Tess gave and Kat gave, it's a lot of inviting in this energy that will be blooming this beautiful garden that you see in the backdrop for the Ace of Pentacles, right? And this pentacle is coming out from nowhere, from the universe, right? It's being held out, it's a manifestation, but there's still pentacle energy there. There's still earth energy. There's still this sense of groundingness, this sense of this is still here in the 3D realm. So I feel like it being in the seed is very appropriate. For sprout, we have the Ace of Pentacles. I'm sorry, the Ace of Cups, which says the brink, wellspring of emotion, new feelings, visceral. The fact that these two aces are kind of here, I think, is echoing the start of this new year, right? Everything that is to come. And of all the things to come out, it's earth energy, which is supposed to be very grounding, and then water energy, which can be super emotional, doesn't really have a shape, will take different various forms, right? Is very fluid. You can't really control it, where earth is very firm. You can manipulate it in different ways. And even looking at the Ace of Cups, how it's this beautiful fountain almost, with all of this water just sprouting outside and both of the hands coming together. Like, what other way do you need to plant a seed? You need the seed, and then you need water to be able to nourish it and give it all of the nutrients that it needs. So I feel like both of these coming together are such a beautiful omen for what is to come in 2025. um and it almost gives me this feeling and this sensation of hopefulness, right? Like maybe these past few years have been really tough and really difficult, and for some of us we might be in a point where we're like, God, what now? Or like, when is it going to stop? Or is this finally the time where I have my break? And I feel like these cards are kind of hinting that this might be the year, this might be the start of the season where you'll get to take that breath, where you'll get to really enjoy all of the hard work that you've been putting in, all of the lessons that you've been learning. It's all going to kind of materialize in front of you, and all of a sudden it's going to make sense. And for harvest, we have none other than the beautiful star card. And some of the keywords that it has here is in the limelight, tranquility, harmonious, receiving praise, luck. And within the tarot community, the star card is usually indicative of a wish coming true, like that is the star. You wish upon a star and then your dreams come true. So again, it's more water that's being poured out. We have this woman who's pouring water out into the pond that already has water in there, but also has another jar pouring off to the side that is also flowing into there. So to me, this almost feels like, for some of you who maybe have had your focus so much on this one thing, and you're just waiting and waiting for it to fill up, you know, I feel like it feels kind of silly to fill up a pond because it doesn't need extra water. But then this person has this other jar that it looks like they're just sprinkling it to the ground, and it feels like it's wasted effort. But if you look at the water, it spreads out to different areas and one of them trickles down into the pond. So for some of you who are listening, who maybe have been trying to juggle multiple priorities, multiple things, multiple projects, and you feel maybe it was a waste of your time, I think this star card is here to kind of let you know it wasn't a waste, right? This water is still going places. Um, and even the star card has this bird in the back, right? You can kind of see towards the right side on top of this tree. And to me, this bird almost feels like a guardian angel, right? Where you felt like you were alone this whole entire time, but this bird has been watching this entire time, and it knows. Um, to me, it almost looks a little bit reaffirmed, reassured, like they're there just in case you need them, but they know that you don't really need them, and I honestly feel that as a spread, and usually in my previous reads, I've pulled out another card, right? I always try to pull an extra card, especially in the virtual ones, to kind of represent the bottom of the deck. For this one, I felt I'm not gonna pull one. If I need further clarification, I will. But this deck knew. This tarot read today knew it was not going to need any extra clarifications. It's super clear that 2025 is going to bring, I feel like, even things that we couldn't even imagine, right? And I feel like those, some of the best things in life are those that come unplanned, are those that come when you least expect it, are those that feel like came out of nowhere and you couldn't believe that you were chosen, to kind of go through that experience, live it, and make it your own. And I think 2025 is going to have a lot of beautiful surprises in store for us. It's going to be a lot of, I feel like, alignment too, right? I feel like a lot of things are going to start falling into place because the stars back there, they're all kind of circling the big yellow star. But what I also thought of when I looked at the star card is kind of this idea of a planetary alignment. Um, or the stars aligning, if you can think of that phrase. So, one thing I will say, right, even though the star card is here for the harvest, and we have these beautiful omens of the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups, it's still at the very beginning, right? This is the Ace cards that came up. We're still at the start, so don't feel impatient with the universe. Instant gratification is something that will block a lot of people from receiving the greater gift that the universe has for you. So be patient. It is a process. And I think it also fits really well with even the spread that I decided to go with, right? Seed, sprout, harvest. Plants are going to take their time to grow. They have to grow their roots first. It all happens underground before you even see something bloom up on the top of the ground of the soil. So these are good omens, but please be patient because they are the aces that have come up here. But that doesn't mean that what's coming is not going to be something that is potentially beyond your wildest dreams, maybe something you thought was going to be impossible to achieve or take forever to do, you know. Tess, this sounds like a good omen for that Japan trip. Um, things like that where it feels, oh my God, it's like so much money. How am I gonna do that? But it's there, like the cards are here, the ace is here, the star is here. It doesn't mean it's not possible. And another thing that kind of popped up, and the last thing that I'll leave with us today, tonight, this morning, whenever you're listening to us, is we have the Ace of Cups here that's kind of flowing into the water as well. And then the star card right next to it, who's pouring this water into it. And there's a lot just of water and floral energy here in the spread today. And I just feel like if there's something that you feel like you need, maybe try to think of ways, right? Kind of like what we were talking about even with Kat, things that really fill your cup, that are really going to nourish you, right? Like focus on those things. Don't just put whatever shit in your cup and drink, you know, any like bad toxins, whatever. No, this cup is sacred. The cup in the Ace of Cups looks like a grail, right? These the star card is holding these jars, but they're almost a symbol of purification, right? This idea of tranquility. Like earlier, I kind of thought that the Ace of Cups looked like a fountain of youth, right? So think of something like that is sacred, right? Um, Lean into those things. Treat yourself, treat your body as something that is sacred, as something that should be well taken care of, um, and nourish it really well. Because that's also another thing that I got from this with the seed sprout harvest and all of these growths coming up and water. It's this idea of like cleansing. Like some of us might need to have either a spiritual or a physical cleanse or whatever it is, but just make sure you're ready. You're ready. You weed out your garden. You have everything good to go because the seasons have it. They're ready to give you the most beautiful, bountiful harvest, but you have to be ready for it, right? You have to be prepared and you have to be patient. So I feel like that is what the cards have for us
And I
today.
feel like before you stop sharing screen, Pam, this is honestly such a story of like this is so grounded visually as well, because quite literally a seed is presented, something is sprouting from the cup, and literally
Yeah.
harvesting from the pond that is the star. This is a story of self-love, where prosperity, abundance is kind of presented to you. You are pouring love into yourself, right? With the Ace of Cups represented, and the star is healing, So your health journey, Pam, for the new health prosperity that the Pentacles, has presented itself. It's so powerful, this read. I just wanted to really emphasize that because it quite literally matches in every narrative sense this reading, Yeah,
Yep.
I loved it.
Never ceases to amaze how timely and accurate every tarot reading is. From Dear Pam, this is such an encouragement, I think, for the new year as well. Uh, that the dreams and desires that are in your heart that you might share with others or that might linger there because you're afraid to say them aloud are pure and they're there for a reason. And as you're listening to this episode and you heard that read, only you may know what it is that's in that heart of yours, but know that that is exactly where your energy should be going. And we hope that you bring that dream to life in 2025. We hope you bring it to life tomorrow, okay? Because you deserve it. You deserve to live that life. And all of us deserve it too, and just remember that we are all in pursuit of the same goal ultimately. And it's a goal that all of us can have. We can all reap and win it together. Um, Thank you so much for that reading, Pam. Can't believe it's the last reading of the year. Oh my gosh. So
What a great
wild.
one.
Yes. Yes. And on the last day of the year, we will be celebrating this day and we will be uh, reflective, right? Naturally. It's hard not to be. But again, I just hope that we remember the good, right? Remember the joy, remember the blessings, remember the growth. Acknowledge everything else and let it pass through you as nature only can. But really, there is so much to be grateful for in this life. And we are so, 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 so blessed. And so days like these are just a reminder, to surround yourself with the people who matter and remember that you're in that group too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, friends. So this is not a goodbye. This is a hello. And we can't wait to see you again sooner than you think. Any last words from any of you ladies?
See you all on the other side. I'm excited for 2025. I'm excited for High Tea Mystique season 3, lucky number 3. And I can't wait to meet you all there for it.
Mm-hmm. I hope you guys have really enjoyed our season 2. I look forward to what we have in store for season 3. Can't wait to say hello to you all in 2025. And excited to hear how things will be growing for you once we start back up. So take that first foot forward, reach out that hand, and say hello, 2025.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
All right, friends, we've held off this goodbye for far too long. I think it's because all of us are now just getting a little bit sad that it's the end of another season. But I mean, in a great way. In a great way, we
Yes.
have so much to look back and be thankful for in the growth. So, with that being said, until next time, we love you. Thank you so much for being here and sharing this time and disconnecting from the craziness that is your life to share a cup of tea and dig a little bit deeper with us. Until the next one, we can't wait to see you again. Bye.
Johnny.
Bye.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!